Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to take a look at the topic of truth and what is the nature of truth? What does it mean for something to be true? I think in society today, one of the big problems that we see everywhere is this idea of relativism, of everyone claiming, how can I tell someone that they're right or they're wrong because everyone has their own truth. And this idea is really problematic because oftentimes these same people who would, write off a criticism by saying, well, that's your truth and this is my truth, also would get very agitated if you were to question the validity of, say one of their deeply held views about current events, or you can just see it in the current climate, how contentious things are, and there is just this battle for the truth, and this kind of divide that we see happening where everyone is, the tensions are so high and people are so divided. And part of the issue there is that people are disagreeing on what is true, and people are really holding their ground, saying, no, you're confused, you're deluded, I'm right, this is the truth. And yet at the same time, we also see this idea of, well, you can have your truth and you can have my truth, and that's that, and there is no truth. And so we see this kind of collision of ideas there, where somehow people are holding both of these ideas in their head when it doesn't make any sense to do so. That, it can't be true that the truth is relative and that I am justified in holding ill will towards somebody else because they believe something different from me. So, it brings about the question, is there a truth? Do we as humans have the capacity to discover and find out what the truth is? This is the whole idea behind, say, science, is that there is a physical, actual truth out there, that through observation and study that we can identify and narrow down, if not the 100% surety of a truth, at least say all of our evidence gives us reason to believe that X, Y, or Z is true. And so I think in a lot of different areas, even though we have this culture of relativism, most people, it's the rational stance to acknowledge that there is truth that can be discovered and identified. And so I think it only makes sense that if in the physical world we hold this belief that you can find a fact, you can find what's true, that there is some level of metaphysical truth behind the material truth. Ultimately, that would be the concept of God, that energy source, the essence of existence itself, the determining factor in everything that is real. That is that embodiment of that idea of truth, and can we find it, and is there a lens through which we can see the world where everything starts to make sense, and I can have a confidence that I am at least on an avenue to get closer and closer to the truth every day, the more that I investigate this concept of God. And I think another struggle that's related to this pandemic of relativism that we see in the world today is the idea of religious indifferentism. And I'd like to touch on that a little bit. So many people today, if you approach someone and say, well, I'm Christian, this is my belief, and they say, oh, well, that's your truth, and this is my truth. Or what about people who hold other religions? That's fine, that's their truth. But ultimately, if there is something that is true, if there is a reality to our existence at all, somebody has the answer closer to being correct than everybody else. Not everyone's version is reflective of reality. And so the idea that it is okay from a lens of Christianity for people to believe whatever they want to believe just doesn't make any rational sense. If you believe Christianity to be true, if you believe that God became man and died as a sacrificial offering for our own sins so that we might be saved, it doesn't, that view doesn't provide any room for, well, it doesn't matter if people believe other things. God would not have sent himself down to be tortured and killed for us if it didn't matter if you believed in him, if it didn't matter if you blasphemed him, if it didn't matter what you believed at all. Why would it have made sense for him to bother to come down to earth in the first place? So if you, just kind of food for thought, if you identify with the idea of being Christian and yet you also hold the perspective that it doesn't matter what people believe, and why push, why seek to evangelize, why reach out your hand to show someone the faith? They're fine believing whatever they believe, and we can all just go along to get along. That doesn't make any sense, and I would invite you to more thoroughly investigate your belief system. Because if you really believe that Christ died for our sins and that there is no way to the Father but through him, then we need to be making a real effort to evangelize the world and not sit back on our haunches and watch it degrade. So yeah, just a little food for thought I wanted to share for today. Thank you for joining me. If you are enjoying my content, it would be really helpful for me if you would hit the like button below, the thumbs up, click subscribe, and share this with anyone you think might be interested. Thanks.